Hello everyone, today I'm sharing with you something that I think is quite fundamental for learning about macro, but it is actually very critical and can save you a lot of time if you master it really well, which is how to write a loop macro. So if you have been following my channel, you would know that I have a playlist called Excel Macro for Beginners, where I have shared with you a few simple, easy cases where you can apply macro to make your work a lot more efficient and save you time from doing repetitive work. For example, in actually one of the cases where I'm sharing with you how to split a spreadsheet into multiple spreadsheets, you can see that I'm already applying loop function here where you have the for and you have like the next. So that is a loop function. So this is a skill that I think very important to learn. So today I'm actually going to construct a simple loop function with you, and I'm actually going to write the code with you one step by one step by step, so you can see how we can make this loop function from scratch. Okay, so the case that we have today is that we have like a simple set of employees, and we have their performance rating from 1 to 5, and we have their comp ratio, which ranges from like 70 to like 120. So I have constructed certain loop the conditions, which is the first one is that if the employee performance rating is 1, and then this person is not eligible for increase. If the performance rating is 2 to 3 to 4, and the comp ratio is less than 110, then you write that the merit increase is 5%. If the comp ratio is greater than 110%, then write the merit increase to 2%. If it's any other conditions, which in our case, which means that the performance rating will be 5, then write merit increase of 10%. Of course, you can set the conditions in whatever way you wish, but what I'm trying to show you here is that this is something that, of course, you can do without macro. Like, say, you can really just filter for everyone that has 1, or everyone that has like 2 to 3, and then filter for the comp ratio, and then just copy and paste whatever statement that you need to write here. Of course, that's one way to do it. It probably wouldn't save you a lot of time here, but then just imagine you have a spreadsheet of thousands of records, and you have maybe 10 to 20 or even like 100 conditions that you have to meet. In that way, you couldn't really just filter them one by one, right? In that way, if you can master this loop macro code, it will save your time dramatically, and you can basically prepare those statements in like less than 10 seconds. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So first, let me clean this out from my previous macro, and I'm going to show you. So first thing to do is to open your macro write book, which is the shortcut is Alt F1, and it's actually gonna be a blank paper where you can write. So actually the first thing you need to do is to create the sub. So just type in sub and then say I want to name it as SimpleLoop, and then bracket, and then if you go enter, you can see that the sub and end sub already automatically turns blue. That means that Excel macro recognize it. So this is how you name your macro. And then usually the first step that I always find helpful, but it's not required, is that I always write a few comments of my action plan. So just know that whatever comments you write, you need to add this to at the beginning, so Excel recognize that it's a comment. So I would always write on action plan, and then you enter, and then just make sure you have the quotation mark there, and then just write your step, like just organize your thoughts before you do anything. Organize your thoughts. So my my thoughts here is first, define the range. Define the range of my action. I'll show you in a minute what it is. And then the second step is to write the loop codes, which is what I mean by the for and next function. And there's actually a few different kind of loops with different kinds of loop codes that you can use, something like do until, but like I think for our purpose here, let's just focus on the for next for now. And then the third step is that after you construct the loop structure, make sure you can then write the conditions for the loop. So this is where I'm gonna have something like the if statements, else if, and then end if. Actually, a lot of people would forget the end if, so I'm pointing that out. Okay, so all those are my action plan and basically my roadmap. And then now I'm actually gonna write whatever code that's gonna be run. So the first thing is to define dim I as. I always use I. You can use x as well, like anything I as integer, and then just see that when you type in enter, the integer is going to come out, and then honestly, like you can just enter, and then it's gonna automatically pop up. So you would know that it's okay when it turns blue automatically. And then now it's the next one is to define the range for your for statement. So in our case, we want to make sure for I equals 9 to 16. What do we mean by 9 to 16? So what I'm trying to do is to write a statement in all those cells. So I know they're in the column that's F, but then I want to make sure that I'm only taking action from F9 to F16. So this is why I'm defining my range to be 9 to 16. And then actually after, like, this is where I have my if function, and then after I finish my if function, the end statement will be the next I. So it means that the if function will be applied to 9. After everything else, it's gonna go to the next I, which is 10, and then it's gonna loop until it gets to 16. After it gets to 16, it's gonna end, and then it's gonna end sub, and then the macro will stop. So from 9 to 16, so here is my statement, which will be based on the condition that I have listed here. So of course, we're gonna start from the if function of range. So we're saying that if our range Ci, which for the first one is gonna be C9, equals 1, then range Fi, which is like in the first case F9, would equal to, make sure you have double quote here, and then make sure and then you can write whatever you want into the double quote, which will be the tags shown for that cell. Yep. So this is a statement that we're saying that if C9 equals to 1, then range F9 will equal to not eligible for merit increase. So this is the first condition. So now let's look at the second condition. The second condition is if performance rating is 2 to 4 and then compa ratio is less than 1110, then we write this, right? And then, okay, so, and then we say if range Ci equals 2, let's make it easy. Let's say just 2, and range is asking for compa ratio, which is in column D. So we say, okay, column D, if it's less or equal to 110%, which is 1.1, then we say our range, basically you can just copy or from copy from the previous one, but then say the merit increase is 5%. Yeah, so that's how you set the next one. But then note that here, instead of if, you need to have ElseIf. So if you have multiple conditions, the easy way is actually to copy and paste. So here, to make it simple, I'm going to copy and paste here, and then the only thing I need to change is change it 2 to 3. Well, so I'm like, this is one statement, but it's actually 3 ElseIf statement. There's definitely more simple ways to do it, but I'm just writing it like this because this is the most intuitive. This is the easiest to understand. So now those 3 statements would cover whatever we want to cover for the second line, and then now we want to cover for the next line, which again, like, just copy and paste as much as you want. You really don't need to write it over again if you don't have to. So now the other ElseIf function is that if our performance rating is 2 and the range is greater or equal to 110, then our merit increase is 2%. So again, this is something that you can just copy and paste here, and then just make sure you change whatever you need to change there. So that, again, like those three statements would cover the third line there. And then the last line is saying that if it doesn't satisfy all the conditions above, then you go else. So for all the other conditions, your range F9 would be merit 10%. Okay, so that covers all the conditions you have, and then the very important thing to do after is to end your if. So you see the end if. Otherwise, like your macro wouldn't run through. So for someone would also prefer to have maybe the indent for all the ElseIf functions to make it pretty and also more easy to understand logic. Personally, I'm okay with that, and it's probably going to be helpful for more complex macro codes. But then for this one, whether you indent or not, it doesn't really matter. The Excel will work as the same. Okay, so now we actually have already constructed our loop function. So the function is going to go from 9 to 16. So now let's run it and then see what's happening. Yeah, so you see, like, this is exactly how it's going to run. And actually, let me show you step by step. So one way I would check my macro is I would go here, click, and then so make sure that my Excel, after I write my loop code, it can only run one because I just want to test to see if it's successful. So after I put this red dot there, whenever I hit run, Excel is gonna stop there. Yeah, so you see, like, after so now Excel only run for one loop, and then it's showing whatever it needs to show, and then maybe I would double check if it really satisfies what I want, and then if yes, then let me try to run a couple. And then if everything's working well, then it means that my loop function is successful. So this is a way that after I write a loop code, I would do it manually to check if all the conditions are satisfied before I run the whole thing, because sometimes I run it on hundreds of thousands of records. It will be too late if you just run it and then realize that your code is not correct. Okay, so this is how I have shown you step by step how to write your first loop macro code, and I hope it's helpful to you. And in the future, based on what we have covered today, I will introduce you to more complex loop function, and I hope that I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that you too. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you like it. If you have any question, please leave me a comment and I will talk to you very soon.